In today's video, I want to talk about Google's algorithm. Not all the details about Google's algorithm, but specifically, what is Google's algorithm and how can you work within Google's algorithm for your SEO and reputation management campaigns to positively affect change to those websites as you're working on them, working within Google's algorithm, rather than trying to brute force the results that Google's algorithm is trying to hold at arm's length. So in this video, I'm going to look at 4 different areas with the idea of working within Google's algorithm. The first thing that we're going to look at is, what is Google's algorithm? The second thing that we're going to look at is 4 common mistakes that are made when trying to work with Google's algorithm. The third thing that we're going to look at is how you can work with Google's algorithm today to affect change in the search results, not only today, but also into the future. And the fourth thing that we're going to look at is 7 bonus tips. And these are going to come fast and quick. There's 7 tricks and tips that I've found over many years of doing SEO and reputation management. And I think out of these 7 tips, you will definitely find 1 or 2 that you did not know before. Now, the first thing that we're going to cover is, what is Google's algorithm? Years ago, Google developed an algorithm, which is just a mathematical formula called PageRank. It was named after one of Google's founders, Larry Page. There are over 200 known Google algorithm factors. For example, the website age. If your website was registered 20 years ago, you're going to be looked at favorably compared to a website that was registered 2 days ago. Google is looking for domain age. That is one ranking factor. Now, there are more than 200 ranking factors, and all of those ranking factors have different weights. So we may say, I know that link building is important. I know that domain age is important, but how much more important are each one of those things? That's where we have to start testing. That's where we have to try to understand at a broad scale, what is Google's algorithm? What is Google looking for? And then how can we work within that algorithm? A couple other important factors with Google's ranking algorithm is link building. So the broad debate on PageRank and Google's algorithm when it comes to link building is quality versus quantity. Is it better to have 10,000 links, or is it better to have 10 links? And of those 10,000 links, if they're all low quality sites and they're all low quality content, there's no contextual relevance, there's nothing relevant to anything that you're linking to, versus those 10 sites that is a very small number but maybe highly relevant. Is there a difference? Is one better than the other? And those are the things that you want to look at as you're trying to understand the algorithm. Another thing that we've seen kind of pop up lately is what a lot of people call ninja edits or niche edits. It's kind of where you look back at a website and you say, well, in 2007, 13 years ago, somebody wrote this article that's relevant to my industry. I want to build a link from that article to my modern contextual website today. It's a great page that talks about the business that I'm in. So I'm going to go and pay that webmaster $200 to add my link to this page that's 13 years old. In theory, this is a great idea. In practice, what is this telling Google? That after 13 years of no changes, this website decided, out of the goodness of its heart, to go and add a single outbound link to your site. That tells Google that after so many years of nothing happening, the webmaster's all of a sudden now linking to you. That's sketchy. We want to avoid the sketchiness of link building. We want to avoid things that trigger a red flag to Google, and that's why we want to try to work within Google's algorithm rather than trying to force Google's algorithm to do what we want. So that's an example, a very practical and real example of what people are looking to do when they try to build links. If you take that niche edit idea and extrapolate it out all the way, you'll find thousands and thousands of pages that you can build links to from these old pages that, again, in theory seem like a good idea, but in practice stick out like a sore thumb. There are companies that are devoted exclusively to niche edits. I sold niche edit links back in 1999 and 2000. That's how old the strategy is. So it's come full circle now, and what we did in the past that stopped working, people have revived and are trying to get to work again. Now, there are 4 common mistakes that I see people make all the time. Brand new link builders, brand new marketers, and website owners, and often even a small business owner will think quantity is better than quality. Now, I'm not saying quantity is bad. I'm saying that that's a common expectation, is that quantity is always better than quality. They'll go to Fiverr or somewhere like that where you can get 10,000 links for $5. In that type of link building method where you're getting spammy links, people will often think, well, they come from other sites and they point to my site, or they point to an intermediary page, my WordPress.com account or my Twitter account that then links to me. And so they try to buffer that a little bit. This is a very, very obvious mistake to make. Google knows what's going on. You're wasting your time and your money going after spammy, low quality links. That will not help you. Google's algorithm is too smart for you just to go out and buy a bunch of spammy links and think you're going to do well in the search results. Now, the second mistake people make is when it comes to the discussion of quantity versus a contextual set of links. So quantity would mean just trying to get more and more and more links, almost at any cost, compared to a relevance-based approach. Imagine if you are selling some kind of software, let's say accounting software for small businesses. If you're looking at a quantity-based approach, you may approach a gardening blog and say, hey, will you write about something related to accounting or tax software? And they'll say, we're a gardening blog. We write about gardening topics. What's the best shovel and what's the best fertilizer? And you say to them, well, I do tax accounting, so can you put my link into an article about shovels? And so it will say, this article was sponsored by tax accounting software. Now that tax accounting software links to you. The problem with this approach is there is absolutely no relevance between that gardening blog and your tax accounting software. There's no relevance between the page about shovels and your tax accounting software. That page relevance is something that we have found that is absolutely crucial. Secondly, Google understands what's called latent semantic indexing, or LSI for short. LSI is an idea of keywords that we use in modern vernacular to talk about something without saying the word. The best example I can give you is if you imagine you're talking about your dentist and you said, I went to the dentist, you would expect to hear words like tooth, enamel, cavity, plaque, tartar, flossing, brushing. All of those things are words and ideas that are going to go along with dentist, but they're not actually dentist when it comes to the keyword. They are related keywords or latently semantic keywords. That's the idea that Google really understands very well, and Google can even know that your page is about dentistry even if you never say dentistry, because it understands all of those other keywords. When you combine page relevance with LSI ideas, you get a very good way to build links. Page relevance, meaning that shovel article should be about taxes, or should be about accounting, or should be about software. Combine that relevancy of that page with LSI keywords, and you don't even have to say tax accounting software for Google to know that this page is about accounting, it's about taxes, it's about software. The algorithm understands that. So the mistake that people make is trying to shove those keywords into somewhere that does not make sense contextually, and it does not make sense because there's no LSI keywords anywhere. Now, the third mistake that people make is a fairly common one, and it's starting to lose popularity with the idea that outbound links are bad. Linking out to another website is bad. Total mistake. Google expects things to be natural. That's what Google has always said from the beginning. If you build it, they will come. Now, in theory, that's great. In practice, it's not true. If you build it, nobody will come. You can build the best website, put it out there on a brand new domain, and literally nobody will ever know about it. In theory, the best content should rank first. In practice, the best SEO, the best link building, the best domain age, the best time on site, the best headlines, the best title tags, that is what actually will rank. So when it comes to linking to other websites, it's always a good idea because it's natural. Now, I would not link to competitors. I would link to other websites that are somewhat relevant. So for example, as you're selling tax accounting software, you may link to a tax lawyer directory. You may link to something that is related to accounting software, but not tax accounting software. Linking to non-competitive, similar industries tells Google that your page is a great repository of information. Even if your page does not have all of the information, you've linked out to these other places that may have additional value to the reader. And the fourth mistake that people make is thinking that all website traffic is the same. Website traffic, how many people actually come to your website, is very important. But what's even more important is the location from where they come. If people are coming from referrals, meaning another website is linking to you and people are clicking through from that website to your website, that's fantastic. Also good is people coming to your website from the Google search results. So Google search results are tracked by Google. When someone clicks on tax accounting software and ends up on your website, that is a good thing. Google knows that and they care about that. Any website traffic is not all built the same. If you have website traffic from pop-unders or pop-overs or any kind of pop-up or anything spammy, Google knows it's not easily fooled by poor quality website traffic. Getting good website traffic to your pages is a good thing if it's coming from the right sources. Now, as we move into the third category, what we want to look at is what can you do both today and in the future to bolster your search results for either SEO or for reputation management. It stands to reason that Google's algorithm is only going to get better and better. It's smarter today than it was last week. It's smarter last week than it was last year. When I started 15, almost 20 years ago, I could buy a brand new domain that had some keywords in it. I could stuff a bunch of keywords onto the page and I could rank for just about anything. I used to outrank Vistaprint for free business cards simply because my on-site SEO was better. I was an affiliate of Vistaprint. I was number one, they were number two because I had better on-site SEO. Those days are long gone. Google's algorithm is so much smarter today than it was back then, which makes it a lot more difficult for your average SEO provider to get results. So what can you do today that will affect both today and into the future is find an SEO provider that has a track record of results regardless of the algorithmic changes. I say that specifically because there are historically hundreds and hundreds and thousands of SEO providers that are now long gone and their carcasses litter the SEO landscape. They have not understood what it takes to be able to adapt to the changing algorithm and the algorithmic landscape. Good quality links that are on good quality pages lead to good, long-lasting search results. If your SEO provider is trying to do something you don't understand, if they're doing something that you can't clearly and easily retell to someone else, there's a problem. For example, what we do is we reach out to hundreds and thousands of different websites every single month and say, we want to build links on your site because your site is contextually relevant to our client site. What do we need to do to make that happen? And we look for contextually relevant site. We send tens of thousands of emails every month. We email people on LinkedIn and on Facebook Messenger, and we're trying to get to those business owners and form a partnership with them that benefits our clients. We're going direct to the source. With good quality contextual links, I don't have to worry about the next penguin or panda or animal update that Google has Because the strategy is sound. Good links built on good sites provide good, long-lasting ranking results. We're almost done. I want to hit you with 7 secrets that I never tell anyone. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to go through them fast. If you have additional questions, just drop them in the comments below. The first one is domain length. Google knows how long you've registered your domain. Register it for 10, 12 years. It won't cost you anything. It's 10 or 15 bucks a year. Register it for 10 years. Don't register it for 1 year. Register it for 10. Spammers do 1 year. Real businesses register as long as they possibly can. Number 2 is content length. Take the top 10 search results for your keyword, average out all of their page content length. So count all of their words. There's great free online tools. Just search word count tools and find what their average word count is. Take that number and add 500 or 1,000 additional words and have better on-site and longer word counts than they do by 500 to 1,000, and you will be primed to rank better than they do. The third thing is both length and depth of your content. Your content should cover the topic from every perceivable angle. You should link out to anybody that's relevant. You should have a list, you should have video, you should have anything possible to make that as absolutely in-depth as possible. You should cite sources and link to those sources whenever possible. The fourth is what we call a content refresh. That's taking something you've done in the past, updating the date stamp on it, adding and changing and making sure the links work, making sure the multimedia looks good, and refreshing that page. I always like to add content as well. Your title should reflect that. So put in brackets, update the year, or updated 2021, or now updated. So you want it to look fresh and brand new. People want to read fresh and brand new as opposed to old and archaic. The fifth thing that we're going to look at is what we call eye stops. As you're reading a giant wall of text, your eye just wants to glaze over and scan for something that causes your eye to stop. Now, the quickest and easiest is just to add a bold line. Bold, bold, bold here and there, and somebody who's just scanning the page will stop and read that bold sentence. Other good eye stops are videos, H1, H2 tags, block quotes, pictures, really anything that is either like an HTML formatted, like an ordered list or an unordered list, or some kind of visual. So the visuals can be a printed chart that actually is a screenshot. You can make a graph in Google Docs and then copy that graph in. Really anything that just adds an element that is different than a wall of text will increase your time on site. And that's what the goal here is. Keep people on that page as long as possible. Now, number 6 I mentioned is citations. Citations and linking to those citations does 2 things. It adds credibility and trust to you, and it also helps pass a Google manual review. If someone comes and is manually looking at your page to see if it's any good, citations will tell them, yes, it is. I've done my homework. I have the sources. I know what I'm talking about. Adding citations with links to those sources will tell a manual reviewer that you know what you're talking about. And number 7, and our final tip, is to add value. If you read your article and you would say, why am I reading this? The answer is, do not publish it. If you would not read the article yourself, don't waste time writing or publishing it. If you're not adding value, don't waste your time. It's very easy for Google's algorithm to look holistically at what you're publishing and determine if it's valuable. Is it better than all of the other articles on the topic? If it's not, and you don't want to read it because there's nothing new, there's nothing good, there's nothing that has added value, don't waste your time. Save that idea, save that draft, add to it at a later date. publish it when it adds value. And when you finish reviewing it and reading it, you would say, yes, I'm happy with that. I would read that article. That's when you're ready to publish. Now, I offer all of these as both ideas, theoretically, and practical tips that I've learned over many years of doing SEO and reputation management. Diamond Links does not provide all of these services, but I think that as you take in all of this information and you try to apply it to what you're doing on your website, that's really what you want to come to is, how can I work within Google's algorithm, knowing that these things matter? How can I try to take Google's algorithm and say, I know this is important and this is important and this is important, and affect change in the search results because you're working within Google's algorithm? The one benefit that I can tell you that I stand by conclusively is I've never had negative results from a Google update. We don't do anything crazy. We don't do anything spammy. We just build good links to good pages, which leads to good search results. That's the absolute best way for you to work within Google's algorithm. Now, if you have questions about any of this, just let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you want to ask a question, drop it below and we'll make a video specifically answering your question. Subscribe so that you can get notified next time we publish a video, and let us know if you have any questions or need any help. I'm Brandon with Diamond Links. Thanks for watching.